Today I want to talk to you about an update on a video I made some time back about 10 gigabit Ethernet and how excited I was that I could use Final Cut Pro to edit video over 10 gigabit Ethernet on my NAS. And somebody asked if it was possible to do the same over 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. And I thought about, I probably can do it because I've edited video over Gigabit Ethernet. It's a little bit slow and pokey, but it works. So today, let's try out 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. I have a separate device that is running TrueNAS, and it has a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet interface on it. Let's see what it does. This is a Beelink EQ12 computer running Proxmox with TrueNAS on it. It has 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports. We'll do our demo with an intro using the 10 gigabit Ethernet, just for comparison. So here we are, Ubuntu. That moves over so quick I can't even open a drop-down. Kali Linux, take a little bit longer. And you can see this goes up to close to 900 megs per second. Then we delete them. And we're going to copy them both over again. This is going to Synology over 10 gigabit Ethernet. And there you see that the Ubuntu goes really fast. Well, that was Kali. The whole thing's done. Now this is TrueNAS, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. You see it's taking a bit longer. It's going about a third the speed, about 300 megs per second. Let's do Kali Linux. Let's take a little bit longer. Again, about 300 megs per second. And it's what you'd expect, 2.5 versus 10. You can do it. Come on, there it is. Good. So that's not all there is to it, though. I'm going to show you something else. Double-click the library that I copied on there earlier. And watch what happens in Final Cut Pro. Launches, and then we get an error that we don't want to see. Unsupported volume type. That's no good. So what you have to do is make sure your NAS supports the extensions that Apple has. So we go into TrueNAS, and we go down to the services, and right there, and we find SMB, because that's what we're using and that's what Apple prefers these days. Go to Advanced Options, and you see this Enable Apple Protocol Extensions. All right, so we've enabled SMB 2 and 3 protocol extensions for Apple, and we save that, and then for good measure, I'm going to stop and start SMB. And we actually reconnected to the NAS. I didn't show that, but you have to reconnect. Now we're inside Final Cut Pro, and you can see that I can go through different sections. And you see this wasn't rendered yet. You can see the little dots at the top showing this section wasn't rendered, and it's playing just fine. In fact, we're just going to jump around here, and it actually looks fine. It makes sense that it would work because we don't have to copy all the files over the wire every time we move the cursor. We actually just do a random access in the files. The proof is going to be in the pudding. I'm going to export this video for YouTube. I'm going to pick the very same location where I'm reading from. Different folder, but it's going to be on the NAS anyway. So we're also going to be paying the price of writing to where we're reading from. I don't expect this is going to slow things down that much. The computer is going to be doing all this work. Reading the entirety of the files and writing them should not take that much time compared to all the rendering time. And I'll just speed this up so we don't have to watch the paint dry in real time. And there it is. We've finished rendering. Now let me show you something else. You want to make sure that you have cache files stored on your local machine. You really don't want to have the cache stored on your NAS. And that's an easy way to speed things up in your editing. Just as long as you have your cache local, you should be good for editing over NAS. So there you have it. As long as you have the right settings on your NAS, Final Cut Pro ought to be just fine with editing over the network on a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet connection. Thank you for watching.